Dwayne Calloway delivered a surprise victory last week at Twin Ring Motegi. Can another part-timer find their way to victory lane this week? Brad Stover and Reese Butcher find themselves tied atop the point standings. Now, which one of the drivers is going to be able to take their car and put it out front for good? Plus, we're headed back to another super speedway, and super speedways mean a lot of accidents and high speed. Can this prove difficult for the drivers here today? Race number 8 of 16 is the halfway point of the regular season for the NFRN Elite Cup Series, and today at 8 Bull Super Speedway, several drivers are looking for their spot in the playoff picture. 5 have locked in their spot right now, but who is going to be the next to take their car to victory lane and compete for a chance at a championship? We're at 8 Bull Super Speedway today for the 8 Bull 400. Hello again, everybody. My name is Colin Denton. Excited to be back on the call for NFRN Elite Cup Series racing. Now, last week at Twin Ring Motegi, Dwayne Calloway stole away a victory and took a playoff spot away from the Elite Cup Series regulars. Now, it's not the first time we've seen that this season. Kenny Knox did the same at Mirage earlier this year at race number 4. But now we have to see who's going to be the next to get into victory lane. It could be one of the competitive part-timers who have experience on the racetrack now. They just got off of it a few moments ago. But Elite Cup Series regulars definitely looking for the chance to claim their playoff spot automatically. But obviously, the 2 playoff spots that were taken away are going to drivers on points, and that's going to make this competition a lot more intense to see who's going to have the best performances in this final stretch of races. We are going to see who's going to take it home on the Super Speedway today. Today, the cars are headed back from overseas in Japan into the United States, and we're going up northeast for the second time. 8 Bull Super Speedway in Watertown, Massachusetts. Population of about 30,000 people. As of 2010, that is, part of the greater Boston area and one of the earliest Massachusetts Bay Colony settlements in 1630. We'll take a lap around in our test car. This is a restrictor plate racetrack, which means that the cars will only get up to about 170 miles per hour on no draft, but they can hit speeds of about 200 miles per hour in the draft. So obviously a big part of today's racetrack. They're going to be all out accelerating through this figure 8 road course, obviously not going across each other, but underneath the bridge the test car goes right now, into turns 3 and 4, which is a big, obviously 270-degree turn. It's going to be a big passing opportunity for cars on either the left or the right side, based on where they're running at the time. And obviously, wherever you are inside in one turn is going to be the outside on the other. Gonna have to find the passing lanes as the cars shuffle out throughout the racetrack. And that's a lap around 8 Bull in about just under a minute. For the part-time cars, they would be the first ones on the track in these Elite Cup cars. Chris Harley would lead the way, and it'd be clean for about 6 or so laps until Colin Lindsay gets into John Gilbert, causing him and AJ Jones to spin, and that would bring out the caution that would end up finishing out this race, and it would be the points leader, Chris Harley, bringing him to the caution flag. Kenny Knox is just behind him, as well as Dwayne Calloway, able to qualify for this race. And also on the starting grid, Craig Martin, Donnie Moore, and Connor Mays. Sparky the Sun Devil just outside, which means both of the Ramco winners of the previous races that they were coming in to qualify for are not going to make the show. Meanwhile, Colin Lindsay fails to qualify as he finally gets back in the top 14 and attempts to qualify for these races. And John Gilbert suffering his 7th DNQ, still looking for his debut. And finally, wearing the visor cam this week, our hot seat winner, William Brock, coming off 4 straight top 15 finishes, including a win at Riki Raceway and a couple of top 10 finishes in the past 2 races. We're going to see from his perspective several points throughout the day and see what he can do to gain even further up the standings. That's going to do it for our pre-race show. Let's send it down trackside to get the starting command and fire up the engines.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshals, Exalta Senior Vice President Joe McDougall and Julia and Alyssa McDougall.
On behalf of Exalta's 14,000 employees around the world, we're happy to say,
drivers, start your engines!
sunny day and some hot engines ready to take to the track. It's time for the starting grid for today's race. On the front row, it's the Clash winner, Noah Cars, in the number 44 NFL Seahawks Ford Fusion, showing that he has some speed on super speedways. We'll see if that applies to today's race. On his outside, Johnny Gardner in the number 6 Ford Fusion, Speed Energy sponsoring the car, seeking the playoffs for the first time despite his victory last year. Number 2 has Aiden Shepard, who had 2 top 10s to start off the season, looking for his 3rd, and Noah Ponser, who has 3 top 20s in the past 4 races. Donnie Moore starts off row number 3 with his 5th start of the season, but hasn't cracked the top 20 yet, and Ryan Maiden, who's seeking his first top 10 this year. Row number 4 with Rambo, who has 1 top 10, but all other finishes 28th or worse in the inside, and Cody Hagan, currently 24th in points. Co-points leader Brad Stover will lead off row number 5, and the other JR sporting some new colors as he looks to rebound this season. Race 2 winner Stuart Gradden leads off row number 6. The Pikes Peak winner, looking to rebound after a few bad weeks of finishes, will start alongside Craig Martin in his 2nd MECS start. Row number 7 has David Davidson, the lowest running rookie in the standings right now, and Amethyst Ashley, the Pigs Cliff winner. Row 8 will have Chris Harley, the current Amateur Cup Series points leader, and Eric Monaco, the current 13th in points. Row number 9 has John Arndt, the top driver without a win to his name, and Dominic Carranza, who would like to extend his time in the top 10 points. And then row number 10, Bruno De Barros, who has top 15 runs, more races than not, and William Brock, the Riki winner. 42 cars entered in the field today, all with a potential shot at winning. Obviously, this is another super speedway, which always provides an opportunity for drivers to make their way to the front and grab the victory. And it doesn't matter where you're qualified, whether it's first or whether you're last. You just got to avoid the accidents that are probable to come, and if you can do that, you could be a victor today. We've seen 5 people clinch their playoff spots so far, and 2 are still open on points, but this is still a clinching opportunity for a driver who does not have a win so far yet this year. Noah Cars won the Clash earlier this season, but he hasn't found any real success in the league so far. Johnny Gardner still looking for a victory that would clinch his first playoff appearance. Pace car pulling down. We're going to see the green flag right here at 8 Bull. Oh, and already trouble! Smoke in turn number 2. Several cars going around. And there's some torn up sheet metal already. So multiple cars have gone around in a pretty slow speed accident. They were just coming up for the up to speed with the green flag. Dwayne Calloway with heavy damage. Adam Mundinger has some as well. He had a solid start to the season, but early trouble for him. He'll take the caution flag, and it'll be Aiden Shepard leading him down. It seems like someone did not get up to speed. I saw that I believe the 92 car had managed to get to the inside line really quickly. Nick Smith is smoking. Chase contender in 2016, and he is already looking like he's out of this one. While the rest of the field coming up very quickly. I think the pace car got a little bit far out in front of the cars that took the yellow. I think some people are still trying to work themselves out in running order. Some cars coming to pit lane, but not all of them. Noah Cars is staying out, playing some strategy, and this might just be for gas because there hasn't been much tires to be wearing out so far, and obviously there isn't much that tires are going to do on a super speedway, but obviously drivers trying not to cut down a tire at some point in the race. Looks like William Brock actually came in pretty hot as Nick Smith is also coming in. The smoke you can see from his camera. And yeah, we're seeing no tire stops from Shepard, who will come out first. And Johnny Gardner taking a little bit longer as Cody Hagan and the other JR pull out in front of him, as well as Martin. See the rest of the field pulling out, and a quick look at the race-off pit lane. And there was still a lot of movement, despite the no-tire calls. Some of the big movers, Craig Martin and Amethyst Ashley, going upward. Now we'll take a look at what happened. William Brock is getting really close to Dominic Carranza off the start. And just like we saw in the Amateur Cup Series race, as well as the part-time race here today, contact in the quarter panels in these turns is really getting these cars out of balance and turning them around. We'll see all the cars starting to just pile up right here. So really nowhere to go, and despite them going slow speed, they're still trying to find their way around the accident and get the positions they can to try to stay out of them again, but the track was really blocked on the high banking of this racetrack. Getting down to the lower parts is a really difficult thing to do, at least in a safe circumstance. Jake Baskinger, Connor Mays, Gerard Aron, Judd Kraus, all drivers involved in this one. Here's from a different angle. There's the original contact between the 23 and the 24. Carranza comes up the racetrack, and there's where Nick Smith takes the heavy hit. That's going to send him out of the race. Jack Kraus bottoms out on the banking. It looks like teammates there between Rampage and NASCAR Fan 19. They make contact. It's going to spin the one car first spin. And this is going to take a few cars out of the race, but not a ton of huge contact made. But that is going to slow down some of these race cars. They're already on a restrictor plate. That's going to make them really draft dependent, and with damage, that's going to make them run slower and lose the pack. William Brock with the onboard today. You get to see the contact he made with the 24 car. And onboard NASCAR Fan 19. 24 came up right in front of him. The one car slowed down later and the 64 earlier, but then NASCAR Fan 19 got back on the gas, and that's what caused him to get into his teammate. But both of those cars should still be running. And now on board the 84 car. Started a little bit further back in the field. Bottomed out a little bit, made contact with Connor Mace to spin him out, but 84 should still be competitive. He's able to get the damage repaired. We'll be right back with more NFRN Elite Cup Series racing at 8 Bowl.
Newman! Newman! Ugh!
Wasn't me.
Casey? Must have been the Phantom.
Get him!
Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Turn it on and soothing micropulses help you reduce friction, so you barely feel the blades. You really feel the difference.
The Phantom strikes back.
Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. The only razor used by the Gillette Young Guns.
The NFRN is always open to new entries, and that sign-up is still very much available. Although the Race 4 deadline is past, you can still sign up in time for race number 5 at Oswego and get involved in some dirt trucking. Link down in the description for the sign-up, and you'll take part in the Open Modified Series race at week number 8. Getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. 3 cars drop out after that accident. Dominic Carranza, Dwayne Calloway, and Nick Smith. Big shame for last week's winner. Currently 10th in these standings, 40th on the Power Index, which is the highest among any first-year driver, including in the Elite Cup Series. It's impressive for someone that's running full-time in the Amateur Cup Series, which has about half the points awarded per race, depending on the achievements. Connor Mays had to get freed and do some extensive repairs. Means he's a couple laps down, and he'll be on the inside line as Noah Kars tries to make the move. He's not going to clear him yet, but because he has the inside line here, he should be able to get going. But John Arndt's actually going to make the move to the far inside and get past the 44 car who led the restart. I think there was a little bit of contact back there between Donnie Moore and Rambo in that second line. But everyone taking to the bottom where they can, as now Mays is holding up Cody Hagan. 22 got shuffled up to the high side, obviously. Martin will lead the lap. Shepard on the inside now. And they're 4 wide in turns 1 and 2. The other JR on that very high outside. He's going to lose a lot of positions here. We'll stay on board and watch as he tries to navigate this field. And almost his entire pack has passed him up. And they continue to do so. But now he'll be on the inside line when they come into this turn, which is the big disadvantage of this racetrack. It's a lot of unpredictability about who can actually find the best lane and get to the front. Because now you see the 98 starting to make a charge back to the inside. Several cars on the very high outside, a few in the middle as well. A lot of three wide racing early in this race. Now he's going to have to look somewhere else as he tries to make a move to the inside of Chris Harley. But that's going to force a 4 wide situation once again. The 2 AMI Incorporated drivers on the inside. Well, Cars retakes the lead. Oh, smoking! The car is upside down! Big hits off the corner, heading into the straightaway. And now the cars that were slowed down are plowing into this one as one car is flying up in the air, the 84 car. And he's going to land on his roof, and more contact further down the straightaway. Adam Mundinger and Mitchell Markham, and they're late. And the 97 now completely torn up after being involved in that first accident. 84 remains on his roof, the 48 and the 62. Gerard Ron already had his hood taken off. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Eli Bright has some damage. A very huge accident. Reese Butcher involved. Pace car will pick up the field, which is now led by part-timer Craig Martin. Some heavy hits taken there, and this is going to be a big cleanup for this racetrack. I couldn't tell where it originated at. It was around the mid-pack part of the field, and obviously some cars that had been involved in that first accident had to drop out a little bit on speed. They just didn't have enough to maintain the draft, but it was this big pack that was really causing the problems. They were going 4 wide in several spots of the racetrack, wherever drivers were being really aggressive and others getting really unfortunate. 90 car stuck down there on the apron now. And it looks like cars are going to come down. And they're going to maybe go for tires this time. They looked like pretty much all of the field didn't take tires except for probably those that got spun around. This might be a better time to start taking those, even if they aren't going to be essential to the outcome of this race. But the fuel window is pretty small on this racetrack, so that's probably why they're already coming back down after a majority of them came down the first caution of the day. See the drivers pulling into their stalls. Craig Martin, current leader of the race, going for right sides. Philip Fry already pulling off. Aiden Shepard looking like he's taking no tires. So still a split strategy on the tire taking, and looks like Shepard's going to win the race off pit lane on the strategy. So yeah, you can see movement all across the board as some taking no tires, some taking 2. Julio Cesar jumps 9 spots on the no-tire gamble. And it's the other JR that looks like he's going to be the one that instigates this contact with Brad Stover, currently the points leader. We were just riding on board the 98 car. He gets the 55 into William Brock, who's then going to get turned around as the rebound brings up another car with him. Stephen Willie got flipped as he hit the banking, and he smashes another car, and that's Stuart Gradden, who had a great start to the season and now falling off really fast. And then you see the second pack of cars coming in late to this accident, coming on the inside line where everyone is dropping out. Oh, a huge hit between the 84 and the 55. And then Zachary Fitzwater Sr. plows into the 84 car. And another one getting involved, that's Kenny Knox. And that's what turned the 84 car over that we saw originally, but we didn't see the initial contact. Here's from an angle down the racetrack. You can see the 62 smashes his car up the banking, and the 29 gets crunched by it, sends his car airborne. Let's see if we can see the bottom part as the cars from the second pack come in. Tyler Markell with a big hit to the 90 car, crunches his hood in, and that's probably going to end his day. Connor Mays up in the air. There's the 84 car once again. Chris Harley involved. Eli Brights, we saw him. Dale Jr. fan 8883 down there in the far right. And then this is the final contact, and that's Cody Hagan running slow, but the 97 and the 5 were plowing through there. Jonathan Raines also with a little bit of contact, but at that point they should have been slowing down, and 97 came in there with a ton of momentum, probably twice as much as Hagan was running with, and Mitchell Mark didn't have any clue because he was drafting on him at that point. So that's where that contact came from, and going to take out even more race cars. That's right, on board with the 98, which we were running on board just before. You see how he gets involved in this accident. Oh man, that contact was huge. I think something else is going to happen to the 98 car here. Gets held up by his 2 car. Oh, and he gets plowed from behind as well. And that really takes him out of this race. Not sure who the driver that plowed into him was. Oh, on board Zachary Fitzwater Sr. right there. Massive hit. From William Brock's driver cam. Heavy hits all around. Onboard Stuart Gradden. And finally from Julio Caesar. In the second pack, sees Tyler Markell get into the back of the 90 car, but what a dodge by the 0. Maybe a little bit of contact. We'll head to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick with a special offer from GoDaddy. Right now you can... Tony? Tony?
My bad.
Hi, I'm Danica... Hi, I'm Danica Patrick with this... Hi, Are you serious?
Okay, here's Danica's special. Get Website Builder for $1. Includes a free domain name at GoDaddy.com.
Danica!
Oops.
A race of endurance, the NFRN 24-hour race coming up this offseason, but still plenty of time to sign up. If you are not yet involved, you can come with a team of at least 3 drivers at maximum 5. And if you can't find a team, you can join the auto-assigned section that will put you on a team automatically when the race time comes. Link is down in the description. You can go and watch the entire sign-up video to get all the information. 19 cars no longer a part of this race, and we can't even name them all off. So we'll just have to read them as they flash across the bottom left of the screen. We are down to 20 cars, less than half the field that we started with. as we head into the green flag restart on lap number 14. Aiden Shepard running with no tires, but shouldn't be a huge problem on this draft-dependent racetrack. So this is really going to open the door for a couple of drivers that would like to find their first victory, as they've only got to deal with some of the race cars on the track. And I imagine we don't have that many damaged race cars still on, as a lot of those that were running farther back in the field that were damaged got caught up in that next accident. You can see the 77 still running without a hood, and the 1 car is also back there. They might be the slow cars of the field, but still got a pack forming up here, going too wide. Noah Ponser in the 92 car finding his way to the lead. Ponser didn't have a great start to his season. He ended up with a last place run at Columbia, obviously involved in the first accident of the day. And he's still seeking his first top 10 run. He has a couple of 12th place finishes, but he's still making a fairly good recovery. He currently runs 29th in points, and the fact that he's going to end up with a top 20 run might be even more helpful to him, regardless of where he finishes today. But he's hoping that he'll be in the victory circle, claiming a playoff spot as long as he can keep it in the top 25 in points at the end of the regular season. Meanwhile, Donnie Moore and Craig Martin, 2 part-timers at the front of this field. We saw a lot of them knocked out in the first 2 crashes of the day, but the ones that are left are surely making a march to the front. Moore has not had great success in the Elite Cup Series. As we see Philip Rye on the high side of 4 wide, going to lose the charge. But yeah, the 43 car driver hasn't found great results in the Elite Cup Series races he's gotten into, but the Columbia winner looking for something here today. Meanwhile, the 92 will push Craig Martin to the lead. Keep riding on board the 92 as we see how close they'll stay, basically bump drafting. We know race cars have tried to do tandem drafting at some point before, but not going to work quite as effectively as it does, or as it had in the past. And now the 92 is going to be on the high side of 3 wide, as he'll see more cars passing him underneath, and 38 will retain the lead, but 92 is going to fall back to the end of this pack. And all it took was one 270-degree turn, which is just how fast this racetrack will move, despite it being fairly low speed. Now the 43 on the bottom side of the 12 car, and we got 2 part-timers leading this race now. Craig Martin's made 1 Elite Cup Series start so far. He did it at Green Valley, which resulted in a flip and a crash out. 28th place was his final finish and result. But he's done pretty well in his Amateur Cup Series run so far. Still looking for his first victory, and subsequently the playoff berth. See David Davidson coming in behind him, and Davidson really struggling this season, even further back in points than the 92 car. He's third to last in the full-time standings, and the 2 cars behind him, Stephen William and Tyler Markell, both out of the race because of those crashes earlier on. And now he's going to see the charge to the front, with Ryan Maiden pushing him and Martin on the outside. And now Maiden looking to make the move to the inside. So one of the passing zones on this racetrack, those straightaways are. Drivers are trying to find an arc into the turn and retain the most speed, but at the cost of it, you're giving up the lane to someone making a pass, and it seems to have the better benefits. And this Ashley, one of the winners still involved in this race, 14th in points, but has a playoff berth with the victory at Pigs Cliff earlier this season. So all she has to really do is seek out more wins, see if she can get some bonus points for the first round, and keep herself a lock to stay in the championship hunt. And as long as she's still in the race, she's given herself good cushion to get to maintain a top 25 spot. Now Davidson on the outside, going to lose some ground. Currently maintaining the pack with a few stragglers. Several cars still in contention to take the victory today at 8 Bull. We're going to go side by side for a green flag commercial break. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
You in line?
No, ma'am. No. Another one?
Yep. That's good.
Son of a...
Ah, 24.
And with this, Ashley came across the line as the leader. You can see that she shuffled to the outside as Philip Fry fills the spot. We saw Donnie Moore coming down for a pit stop. Green flag stops are coming in. 43 in as well as the 92 car. Noah Poncer looking to make an improvement on his season. Donnie Moore taking right sides, Noah Poncer left sides. Looks like he's going for 4 tires as Donnie Moore only going for 2. This is going to be a big strategy play. 92 might have not taken any tires last time around, which might be why he's taking 4 now. See another pack coming in this lap. Looks like the drivers that take pit stops are going to be pretty scattered out. That's going to make for something interesting to see how the draft reforms. Philip Fry going to be the first one into his stall. 78 sticking on the lefts, and he might go for 4 as well. Thinking that any driver that didn't take tires to start the second caution stops, they're going to see 4 here. See if that can maintain their tire wear. And with Ashley pulling off. Now Philip Fry right behind. Like Monaco, Grande Barros, no cars of a bit of a slow stop. 44 pulls away and another pack comes in. On board Jack Porkins as he tries to get as much speed as he can into the pit lane. His stall is pretty early. He's right behind the 64, a couple stalls ahead. Both cars up on their left sides and looks like they're going to go for 4. Rambo and Maiden, both right beside each other. And they're also going to go for 4. Actually, I think the 4 is going to go for 4, and Maiden's going to pull out for 2. Left sides only. Now here comes Gardner and Martin. .38 and the 6, both been in competition with each other throughout this race. 38's seen a couple laps led. Overhead of his stall. He jacks it up on the left, and he's going to go for 4 tires this stop. Now Johnny Gardner on the left sides, and going to go for 4 as well. And they should be able to pull out just around each other and keep themselves in good drafting company. Oh, but the 38 gets out way ahead, and the 6 is stalling out. And there he goes now. Guess they were trying to get that thing full of fuel and making sure that it was. They might have to make one more stop, but trying to see if they can extend the length of that car. Now David Davidson in. It's going to be one of the last to pit. And there's a little damage on the side of the 11 car. It's on that left side. They're going to jack that up, take the tires, but they're going to have to repair that. So that's going to really slow down the 11 car. Let's take a look at what happened. We're on board the 6 car. Oh, and Johnny Gardner got hit as well. And that was Noah Cars pushing Craig Martin. But that explains why the 6 car took a little bit of time to get off of pit lane. I wonder if the 38 car had to do some repair work as well. Because obviously he had the hit to Davidson there. And the 11 car is fixed up, buffed out, but that's going to cost him a lot of time he was on pit lane for. An only 2-tire stop as they try to get away as fast as possible. It looks like Ryan Maiden's going to take the lead off of these pit stops as we are about 15 laps to go in this race. But Ashley is hot on his tail. I believe that's Donnie Moore that's behind her. Should be able to suck back up to Maiden's rear bumper. And now there's not going to be as much of a pack as there was, but drafting is going to be a big part of who's going to come out in front. Ashley already back to the 99 car. Donnie Moore also right behind. And they're both going to cut to the inside of the 99 car. As it looks like a bigger pack. Oh, 3 wide. Donnie Moore's going for everything here. He wants to be out in front. This is his 5th Elite Cup Series appearance, with the best finish of 23rd, which came last week at Twin Ring. And he can only improve on that today because there's only 20 cars left in the race, but imagine if he could take a victory just like Dwayne Calloway did to make him the first driver to win in both the Amateur and Elite Cup Series. He's keeping that potential well in hand. But he's still got plenty of drivers right behind him looking for a way to the front. Here we see the next pack kind of forming up a little bit. Eric Monaco, Philip Fry, NASCAR Fan 19, Jack Porkins all part of it. And now another 3 wide move as 64 looks to the inside of Monaco and Fry. They'll obviously get that, and Jack Porkins will take advantage. Now we'll see if he can slot into somewhere and maybe make another move. There's still about 13 laps to go when they hit the line, though. Plenty of time for stuff to happen, and it might be better if they work together to try to catch the front 3. Porkins once again going to see the outside. Four car will come under as well. He's part of this pack as well. And Porkins slots in. And they're going to come up on a little bit of lap traffic as that's Rampage running a little bit slow. So it looks like he has had a little bit of contact that's slowing his car down and keeping him non-competitive on the super speedways that he's been really, really strong at. 2 victories in his career, both coming at 2.5 or longer racetracks. And he was the final practice leader. It looked like he was going to be able to take part in this, potentially go for a win, but looks like incidental contact is going to keep him out of the running as he's now a lap down. Rampage might have helped out this next pack that's trying to look to make moves. This pack including Craig Martin, Aiden Shepard, Noah Ponser, Caleb Campbell. Now the 1 car getting to the outside, but Noah Ponser trying to stay down there. He gets the side draft off from Aiden Shepard. Oh, and the 1 car almost came down in front of the 7 car. But he stayed out of the way and made sure that not another accident would happen. It's not much for the 1 car to lose, but definitely doesn't want to get in the way of other people. And they're pretty single file, except for the 57 now making a move to the inside of Ryan Maiden, who took the lead. Now, even though these cars aren't running in tandem drafting, I imagine that they're trying to keep their water temps down. They're shuffling out each time, trying to get clean air. So I imagine that's the strategy that these front 3 are taking. Because I imagine if they were running bumper to bumper, they'd be going a lot faster and outpacing the rest of this field, but at the same time, you got to make sure that you aren't overheating your race car and possibly blowing up your engine. And I think that's what these drivers up here are trying to do. Looks like Donnie Moore is going to cut down for a pit stop right here. But Ryan Maiden going to stay out and see if he can improve on the 2 top 20 finishes he has so far. No top 10s. Could be his first victory today if he can pull it off. The 43 car does come in. He was one of the first to come in on the first green flag pit stops a few laps ago. He's going to be on track for his best finish so far in this Elite Cup Series season. We'll see what the strategy is as they are just under 10 laps to go now. It's going to be 2 left side tires for the 43 car, and he's off and away. He looks like he was the only one to come down that stop. And he could be the one... Well, now we got Noah Ponce coming down. But still, a majority of the field electing to stay out, and they're still trying to extend the fuel mileage they have. I don't think they give too much care to the tires, but fuel is going to be in question. They want to make sure they can make it to the end in any circumstance. But Ponce is coming in this time. It's a long ways around the turn to his pit stall. He finally pulls in here, and he's going for right side tires. 2-tire stop for the 92 car, and he'll be off and away. A little bit delayed, but trying to get the tank full of gas. Obviously, 2 tires is going to be a little shorter than 4. And it looks like, here we go, we got a big pack coming down this time. 5 cars and another one in the back. The leader, Amethyst Ashley, a part of this one. Also coming down, Ryan Maiden, Jack Porkins, Eric Monaco, Bruno De Barros, Aiden Shepard. .57 pulls in. It's going to be 2 right side tires for her. Looking to see if she can gain her second victory of the season. Ryan Maiden gets his tires on. He pulls away. And Noah Carr's coming back on. And contact! And Jack Porkins heavily damaged on the front end. Noah Carr's was coming in late. He had a slow stop the first time, and he came down away from the draft, still trying to make his way to his stall. Ryan Maiden pulling out, and Jack Porkins just caught in the crossfire. Now the 44 pulls out, but some evident damage on the back end. Next pack coming down for pit stops. 78 pulls in front of the 64. 41 also trying to find his way to his stall, as well as Rambo. Couple different tire strategies. Rambo's going for 2 right sides. Filling the tank up. And he pulls away. Philip Fry right behind him. And it's going to be a drag race down here to the second corner. 78 and the 4 keeping it competitive as they were 1-2 coming into the pit lane. Now Craig Martin comes down. Johnny Gardner in second. I imagine he's going to be down maybe this lap as well. Jonathan Rains damaged in, and Jack Porkins came back down pit lane to repair his damage. 38 woes up a little bit as the 04 gets around. Porkins has his hood off the race car now. And that's a terrible break for the 04 driver who had a great run going. Got his first top 10 last week at Twin Ring. He'll still be on pace for a solid finish this weekend. Contact! Donnie Moore goes around. NASCAR Fan 19, the other car involved. And the caution comes out late in the race. And Donnie Moore, who had a great run going this week. Contact. And a spin across the wall. Just in front of the start-finish line. And there's damage on both sides of the race car. What it looks like to me was that the 64 was on his inside. Or his outside, depending on where you were looking, but they were just coming off this corner, turns 3 and 4. 64 with a tire mark in his left side. As the pace car is going to catch the field. Now let's take a look at what happened here. Oh yeah, the 43 came up on the 64, and I think the 64 was coming off pit lane. 43 already made his stop. He was early. And I'm guessing that the 64 was not up to pace as he was coming off pit lane. still trying to find speed. Not sure how much room he had to his inside that he could have stayed down. Spotter could have told him that the 48 was coming in fast. But I imagine Donnie Moore is not going to be happy about that one, as his race was going pretty well. From the back of the 64 car. It doesn't look as blatant from that angle, but either way, it's going to result in 2 cars with damage. This is potentially going to be the end of the race, but we'll have to see. I'm going to take a quick commercial break in the meantime. And we'll be right back with more NFRN Elite Cup Series competition.
The drive to win is for life. And with Sprint, so is unlimited, guaranteed. Switch now and save up to $100 off any phone.
We are back at 8 Bowl Superspeedway, and this race not over quite yet. It's going to be a one-lap shootout at the green flag. Philip Fry is the current leader of the race. He got off very quickly with Rambo just behind him. But it's all Fry's chance to lose, as he's going to have to hold off the field for one more lap. Flagman displaying the white flag, showing that this will be the last lap of the race. He pulls that back in, the green flag flies for the final time. This race is going to end this lap in one way or another. Now Rambo is not going to have much of an advantage here, but he does have the advantage when it comes to trying to make a move in the next corner. Can Philip Fry try to hold down the block? Is someone else going to come out of nowhere and try to take the victory? They come off turn 2. And Philip Fry goes further down to try to block. And he does a good job because Rambo goes to the high outside. And that's not going to be good for him. Craig Martin now in the middle lane. Johnny Gardner on the low inside. But the 78 car is going to be able to pull away because of all of this. The pack still shuffling to find positions. But coming off this final corner, Philip Fry's seen 2 top 5s this season, but not a checkered flag. That's going to change today. Philip Fry comes across the line and takes the checkered flag here at 8 Bowl Superspeedway. Victory found for the driver of the 78 car. Currently 22nd in points despite having several good runs this season. But now he has the ability to claim a playoff berth. And he's going to be competing for a championship in about 8 races' time. We take a look at the final finishing results from today's race. Philip Fry taking home the victory at Toyota on top of a bunch of bow ties. Ryan Maiden having a great day, and with this Ashley Noel Ponser as well, and Rambo. Johnny Gardner just so close to getting his second career victory and a place in the playoffs. And Craig Martin, the top running part-timer today, with a great 4th place run. In the next and final set of drivers that were still competing in the race, NASCAR Fan 19 falls to 12th and Donnie Moore to 14th as a result of their contact. David Davidson finds himself to a top 15 spot for the second time this season. Julio Cesar, a Columbia winner, in 13th. Noah Cars and Jack Porkins, who made contact with each other on pit lane, 17th and 18th. And from here on out, it's all the DNFs that we saw in today's race. And a lot of heartbreaks for drivers that were looking for good performances today, such as Stephen Willey and Tyler Markell. Further back, one of the top competitors, Stuart Gradden, taken out in this race. William Brock, the race 5 winner. Reese Butcher and Brad Stover, the co-points leaders, both involved in this accident. We'll see how that impacts the points. And in the final 2 spots, it's Dwayne Calloway and Nick Smith. So here are how the standings turn out at the midway point of the regular season. And John Arndt, still without a victory, finding the points lead as he's able to jump over Butcher and Stover. Julio Cesar sliding into 2nd place. Rampage 5th after his 19th place run. Stuart Gradden who had the points lead for a while there, is back to 6th place, and Adam Mundinger still in 7th despite his accident. Amethyst Ashley found her way to the top 10 with her victory, but now Philip Fry is the one that is in the hot seat, I would say, despite him being in 16 plus points, but still plenty of time that he could lose those points or try to gain them as well. A little further back, Dwayne Calloway, who was 10th in points coming into this race, falls all the way back to 22nd with his 41st place run. Jet Cross had such a great run going for him in the early part of the season, but this is his 4th straight DNF and 5th of the season, taking him from the top 10 in points all the way down to 29th, a gigantic fall for the 34 driver. And back here we see the final section of drivers. Nick Smith dropping to 34th place with his last place run, and still several veterans looking for better runs in this second half of the season. We have a good idea of who is a part of the playoffs right now, but we do like to keep things organized, and let's take a look at what the playoff picture looks like right now. So the drivers in gold are the ones that have victories and are currently inside the playoff contention spots. But the drivers in green are those that are filling slots that are either drivers that are not inside the top 25, which doesn't apply right now, and any drivers that are part-timers that took away wins, which were Kenny Knox and Dwayne Calloway. Obviously, they cannot compete for the championship, but currently the drivers that would be in the spots to take over would be John Arndt and Brad Stover. Still several drivers inside as it stands without the winners that will come later in this back half of the season, and the drivers that are just on the outside looking in. The 16th place spot is the cutoff. We'll have this chart in all of the races leading up to the second season of playoff action in the Elite Cup Series. In the team standings competition, it's still a tight battle between Ramco Motorsports and AMI Incorporated. Both teams getting both drivers inside the top 20 and surviving the accidents today. Callaway Brothers Racing, though, is going to take the drop with Dwayne Calloway wrecking out in this race. And in the Rookie of the Year standings, Philip Fry's victory is going to get him a little closer to the front two competitors, as both of them crashed out and only got the points for competing in today's race. And obviously, everyone's still looking to see where they're going to slot in as the season goes on, but we'll keep you up to date. So that's going to do it for racing here at 8 Bull Superspeedway. Our next Elite Cup Series broadcast will take place at Calder Park in Australia. But next week we'll have truck racing and open modified racing at White Mountain Motorsports Park and Trenton Speedway. We hope you enjoyed racing action here today with the Elite and Amateur Cup Series. My name is Colin Denton for NFRN and RVN. We hope to see you next time.